The Honorable Member for Shiwangandu.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. The urgent matter without notice I'm about to raise is directed to the Minister of Justice. Since I can't see her, I can redirect it to the Leader of Government, Acting Leader of Government Business. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
You may proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the urgent matter without notice I'm raising pertains to the constitutional amendment process. A day or two ago, Madam Speaker, we saw the technical committee which was appointed by the President of the Republic of Zambia present its report, which they came up with, and the draft bill, which draft bill was said to be heading to this institution. Just yesterday, Madam Speaker, the Minister of Justice, before she could share with us what was going to happen to that report and that draft bill, which was handed over to the President, notified this August House that she was reactivating the deferred bill number 7, which had been deferred on the floor for the reasons of wider consultations. Madam Speaker, we are at sea as your legislators regarding what is to happen to that report and that draft bill. Now that Bill 7, which was subject of constitutional legal matter, has been reactivated, what the Minister of Justice has not come to the August House and explain what will happen to both processes that are dealing with the constitutional amendment. We seek your serious guidance on this matter, Madam Speaker. I thank you.
Thank you. I would advise the Honorable Member for Shiwangandu to come up with an urgent question so that that matter can be attended to, because as far as we are concerned, this is a matter which does not concern loss of property or life or any catastrophe to befall the nation. So the Honorable Member will come up with an urgent question to the Minister of Justice. The Honorable Member for Nyimba.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I direct my question to the Minister of Infrastructure. Since he's not in the House, I direct to the acting leader of government business in the House, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, God is so mighty that he has blessed us with lanes in the province, especially in Nyimba district. Madam Speaker, people from the ward called Chinambi and Ruangwa ward have been basically cut off. They can't access the CBD, the district business area of our district, Madam Speaker. They cannot even, some of them, they cannot even go to the other side for farming, because the bridge called Chanda Bridge has been washed away out by the storm we had in the district. So just want to ask the leader of our government business, Madam Speaker, what is their position on this? Because a communication has already was sent yesterday. As of today, Madam Speaker, we've got no reply, and the situation is not too good. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Okay. There is a ministerial statement that is pending for our Honor the Vice President. Unfortunately, she left instructions that she would like to issue that statement herself. But since this is a bit urgent, I believe the Honor the Vice President will be in the House next week. Maybe Honorable Member for Nyimba come up with an urgent question. But I hope we've also communicated to the government officials so that we do not wait for that question to be attended to by the minister in the House. The Honorable Member for Kamfisa.
Madam Speaker, thank you for the privilege and honor to direct an urgent matter without notice to the Minister of Youth, Sport and Art. Madam Speaker, the Zambia national team last won the African Cup of Nations in the year 2012, Madam Speaker, and since then we have struggled to retain that glory, Madam Speaker, at that level. Madam Speaker, we have been hearing of complaints from football players playing for the national team, both for the men team and for the female team, that, Madam Speaker, there are no resources to pay them allowances to prepare for this very, very important tournament called the Africa Cup. Madam Speaker, I am an interested party, and I believe many other Zambians are an interested party in how prepared we are to be able to go into Morocco, to go and compete, Madam Speaker, to be able to win the Africa Cup, as opposed to just losing games in the first 4 matches. Madam Speaker, is the Minister of Sport, Youth and Art in order, Madam Speaker, not to come and assure the nation that the Zambia national team is ready for the AFCON in Morocco, and Zambia will not have challenges of allowances, which we've heard both in the men team and in all the under teams that the national team is supposed to represent. Madam Speaker, football is our national pride. We take pride when the nation is winning important tournaments. Is the minister in order, Madam Speaker, to have players continue complaining every day? We are hearing news items of players not being paid, Madam Speaker. When we allocate money as the Ministry of Youth, Sport and Art, we've allocated enough money to his ministry. Is it in order, Madam Speaker? I thank you.
The Honorable Member for Kamfisa. The urgent matters without notice are those matters that happened within the last 24 hours. Now you clearly stated that people keep on asking. It's an odd matter. So the Honorable Member for Kamfisa will find another platform to raise that matter to the Honorable Minister of Youth and Sport. We make progress. I have permitted the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation to present a ministerial statement. The Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'm grateful for the opportunity to deliver this ministerial statement in response to concerns raised on the floor of the House, as well as recent public debate and social media commentary regarding various consular matters between Zambia and our partners from foreign states. Madam Speaker, to start, I wish to address the question on members of Parliament who sought visas for Schengen and Nordic countries. Madam Speaker, to start, the Ministry notes the concerns expressed by honorable members of Parliament, members of the public, and the media regarding the alleged rejection or delay in the issuance of visas for members of Parliament. In the interest of transparency and to preserve cordial bilateral relations, it is necessary to provide a factual and comprehensive update on the matter, which I now do. A, diplomatic passports and eligibility. Madam Speaker, diplomatic passports in Zambia are issued pursuant to Part 3 of Sections 5 to 7 of the Passports Act number 28 of 2016 and Cabinet Office Minute CO 7.4/1/1 of 10th May 2000. Section 7.2 provides that a diplomatic passport may be issued, 1, to a Zambian diplomat accredited to a foreign country and their spouse, and 2, any other person as the minister may prescribe. Madam Speaker, the integrity and credibility of Zambian diplomatic passports remains beyond reproach and continues to enjoy full recognition and acceptance across all international jurisdictions. These passports, Madam Speaker, reflect the sovereign authority of the Republic of Zambia and serve as a testament to the country's adherence to established diplomatic protocols and international norms. B, visa application procedures. Visa issuance falls within the sovereign prerogative of each foreign state. Suffice to inform the House that the Ministry has successfully facilitated many Schengen visa applications for members of Parliament, government officials, and indeed members of the general public alike. In the case of the current matters under consideration, it was an isolated incident and delays arose due to late submission of applications which fell short of the minimum processing timeframe required by Schengen visa regulations. Madam Speaker, although members of Parliament hold diplomatic passports, Schengen visa regulations stipulate that only ministers or persons of equivalent rank and above qualify for fast-track processing. This category, that is, honorable members of Parliament, currently does not include, I'll read that again, Madam Speaker. The category of fast-track processing currently does not include members of Parliament. Members of Parliament are therefore required to submit applications at least 10 to 15 days before the intended travel date to accommodate administrative processing, including courier dispatch of passports to Nairobi for certain Schengen states or to Pretoria for the United Kingdom. C, specific cases. Roman 1. The Geneva-bound visa application for honorable members to attend the World Health Organization's 7th Montreal Collective Global Forum from 1st to 4th December 2025 was submitted late and could not be processed within the necessary time frame. Roman 2, visa applications to Switzerland are submitted through the Swedish Embassy, which contracts VFS Global to manage applications on its behalf. Applicants complete forms, pay requisite fees, and undergo biometric enrollment at VFS, and the applications are then forwarded to the Swedish Embassy in Nairobi for processing. Standard processing is 10 to 15 working days, with a fast-track option of 3 days, reserved for delegations led by ministers and or above. In the case of the honorable member for Bwana Mkubwa and delegation, the request for visa issuance came within 5 working days and therefore could not be accommodated, as it did not meet the fast-track criteria. Roman 3. Similarly, the 18-member delegation applications were not submitted to the German embassy, as the request for a note verbal was only made 5 days before the intended travel, making timely issuance impossible, particularly as the German embassy required recommendations/approval from Berlin owing to the size of the delegation. The embassy was, however, willing to grant 5 members of the delegation clearance on an exceptional basis, but this was not taken up as it was not found appropriate by the delegation itself. 3, status of Zambia-Germany relations. Madam Speaker, I wish to affirm that Zambia's relations with Germany remain warm, constructive, and mutually respectful. Cooperation spans from governance, renewable energy, trade, skills development, and health. The government has not received any communication indicating a change in Germany's policy towards Zambia or Zambian officials, as the case may be. The matters under discussion, Madam Speaker, I reiterate, are an isolated administrative occurrence and are not indicative of any deterioration in bilateral relations or diplomatic reciprocity with Germany or indeed any of our international partners. 4, measures to avoid similar occurrences. Madam Speaker, to avoid future challenges, the Ministry is implementing the following measures. 1, public sensitization. The Ministry is informing applicants about visa processing requirements for different jurisdictions. A circular was issued to relevant stakeholders to that effect. 2, coordination. The Ministry is strengthening interdepartmental coordination to ensure documentation for official travel is submitted in optimal timeframes. 3, enhanced communication. The Ministry is promoting adherence to diplomatic norms in handling official delegations through closer engagement with foreign missions. And 4, mission support. Working with Zambian missions abroad is imperative to address all concerns arising from official travel. The government remains committed to protecting the dignity of this house, upholding Zambia's foreign interests, and ensuring that diplomatic passports are respected globally. Madam Speaker, I thank the House for the opportunity to provide this update and reaffirm the Ministry's commitment to facilitating official travel while safeguarding the integrity of Zambia's diplomatic engagements. May I take this opportunity, Madam Speaker, to further offer clarification on false reports alleging that a 60-day travel ban has been imposed on Zambia by the United States of America. Very quickly, Madam Speaker, allow me to address the above matter. First and foremost, the reports that have been circulating and have been generated by one particular tabloid are false, misleading, and must be dismissed, Madam Speaker, with the contempt they deserve. Madam Speaker, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation confirms that no communication has been received from the government of the United States of America indicating any form of travel ban or new restrictions on Zambian citizens or government officials. All existing travel procedures remain in full effect. In particular, Madam Speaker, 1, I wish to clarify on the U.S. visa bond pilot program, which I have previously brought before the floor of this House. For the benefit of the House and the public, the following clarification is provided. In August 2025, the United States government included Zambia and Malawi in the visa bond pilot program introduced under Section 221G of the U.S. Immigration and Nationality Act and under a temporary final rule. The program applies only to B1 business and B2 tourism visa applicants from countries assessed to have high visa overstay rates. Government officials, including members of parliament, students, and applicants under other visa categories are not affected. The program is not a travel ban. It is an administrative measure running for 1 year, subject to review. The Ministry continues to engage the U.S. authorities to ensure smooth implementation and safeguard the interests of Zambian travelers and ultimately the lifting of the pilot program in respect to Zambia. 2, Zambia-United States bilateral relations. Madam Speaker, the bilateral relationship between Zambia and the United States remains strong, productive, and mutually respectful. His Excellency President Hakainde Hichilema recently held a constructive discussion with U.S. Secretary of State, the Honorable Marco Rubio, reaffirming cooperation in health, agriculture, governance, mining, investment, and other areas of mutual interest. We have continued to engage the U.S. State Department, including our own Ambassador Gonzalez, who is resident here, on various areas of partnership and our continued friendship with the United States of America. These engagements confirm that relations between the two countries continue to take a positive and collaborative trajectory. Madam Speaker, I wish at this point to appeal to the public and the media. The ministry urges the media and the public and members of the public to, 1, verify information before circulating it. Second, rely on official government communication channels for updates on immigration and international travel and any matters to do with our international relations. To refrain from sharing unverified reports that may cause unnecessary alarm and undermine our diplomatic relations. To refrain, Madam Speaker, at the request of the honorable members of the House, I'll repeat the last item. The members of the public are urged to refrain from sharing unverified reports that may cause unnecessary alarm and undermine our diplomatic relations with our foreign partners. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, and in closing, I wish to reassure this House and the nation that the ministry is actively addressing matters relating to its to the international relations of our beloved Zambia. We remain committed to defending the dignity of this House, protecting the welfare of Zambian citizens abroad, and strengthening Zambia's relations with all partner nations. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Honorable members are now free to ask questions on points of clarification on the ministerial statement presented by the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. The Honorable Member for Kwacha.
Madam Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity given to ask a follow-up question to the Minister on the ministerial statement just delivered. Honorable Minister, your ministerial statement is loud and clear. And the unfortunate part is that there's been a lot of misinformation that went through in various tabloids and also social media. I would like to find out what immediate action your ministry may take to those people, particularly those that were in the forefront, to circulate such misinformation so that we don't have a repeat of what has actually transpired. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation.
I thank you, Madam Speaker, and I thank the Honorable Member for Kwacha for that a question and point of clarification. Madam Speaker, in terms of immediate action that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation is taking to curtail these unfortunate and somewhat malicious public circulation of false information is to use platforms such as this particular opportunity to issue a ministerial statement, and through this August House to update the people of Zambia on the correct processes, procedures, and the correct position regarding our diplomatic relations. But I would also like to take the opportunity, Madam Speaker, to urge the honorable members of this House, being the key apex leaders in our communities, to take information, correct information to the general public, to their constituents, so that we avoid this deliberate attempt to paint the foreign relations of this country as having fallen below standard. I thank you, Madam Speaker. And we'll continue sensitizing as a ministry. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Mwembeshi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, you talked that this information was being circulated starting from one tabloid or whatever. Now, this is a very honorable house. Are you able to give the detail of, say, the name of the tabloid who is circulating such information? Because that is very important. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I believe, Honorable Member of Mwembeshi, I thank you for that question. I believe our rules in terms of citing third parties in the House who cannot defend themselves are very clear. Believe me, Madam Speaker, and indeed the Honorable Member for Mwembeshi, I'm itching to give that information. Perhaps what we shall do as a ministry is take it outside of the confines of this House and release this information to the general public using other means. But in terms of third-party information for individuals or entities that can't defend themselves, I'm afraid, Honourable Member for Mwembeshi, I am constrained by the rules of this House. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Shiwangandu.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, and we appreciate the statement given by the Minister. Honourable Minister, in your statement, you stated that the German Embassy was at least ready to process 5 visas out of the 18 of the delegation. Would you probably confirm whether the mission was just worried about the size of the delegation? If they were ready to process 5 visas, it would have been still possible to process the other 13 visas. Would you say probably the reason could have been the concern about the size of the delegation? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. No, certainly, first of all, I do thank the Honourable Member for Shiwangandu for that question and clarification being sought. No, certainly it was not about the size of delegation, because in fact, as a matter of subsequent to the incident that occurred, the German embassy came out clearly in public media and stated that for them, they would want to have as many of our honorable members of parliament, as many of our Zambian citizens to travel to Germany because it goes to strengthen our bilateral relations. So it was not the size of the delegation, but purely an administrative matter. The offer to process 5 came in an attempt to, first of all, as an exception, but also in an attempt to perhaps offer a sort of olive branch, if I may, in view of the serious situation that was found. But our members also could not then only allow five members of that delegation to travel, so the request was not accepted by us. But certainly the relations remain strong, and a testament of that fact was even that the German embassy was willing to make an exception just to accommodate us. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Bwana Mkubwa.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Minister of Foreign Affairs, for the answers you're providing. Madam Speaker, I came rushing because at 14:15, I was part of the panel discussion, and I'm online outside, presenting at the WHO meeting in Geneva. But it's very, very sad, Madam Speaker, to hear the submission from the Minister of Foreign Affairs, unless Minister of Foreign Affairs did not know what it was doing. Because, Madam Speaker, vividly, I even called the Minister of Foreign Affairs today to ask for a note verbal, which they wrote to the German ambassador or embassy. I sat in that office at the ministry, and the aforesaid embassy was put on a loudspeaker, Madam Speaker, and we heard them, their submission. So when we bring things to the House, Madam Speaker, they should be taken seriously, because we need...
What is the question?
Madam Speaker, I just wanted to build, because I've seen screaming headlines from diggers that how can we come up with a fake story? We are honorable people, Madam Speaker, and things should be addressed the way they are and how they transpired. My question to the Minister first, Madam Speaker, is would like to see that note verbal which was written, and when it was written, if it was 5 days before the actual timeline given for submission. Madam Speaker, however, let me come to my question, because I think this is disheartening. I've never spoken like that in this Parliament, but we need to address some of these issues effectively for us to ensure that our people, even these same called ambassadors in terms of diplomats, are put in perspective, because we continue in the same trajectory if we don't do that. What I want to ask, Madam Speaker, the minister, who's my colleague and friend, is when did we apply for the visa according to the note verbal, and when was the visa denied? Because Ministry of Foreign Affairs are the ones who applied for a visa and not ourselves. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I do appreciate the Honorable Member for Bwana Mukubwa's question, and of course the frustration that he's clearly expressing. Madam Speaker, I think in my note, beg pardon, I think in my ministerial statement, I was very clear that no application was actually submitted to the embassy. That was because by the time the processes were being commenced for the submission of an application, we were already out of time. I hear and I sense from the Honorable Bwana Mukubwa's submission that there is a question of efficiencies within our own processes. Clearly, that is a matter that has to be looked at, and to understand where there was a miscommunication to result in the application not being put within the specified time. However, the request for a note verbal, according to the information that has been given to me, was only received 5 days to the intended date of travel. So in those circumstances, an administrative decision was made that the application would not be viable, and therefore it was not submitted. I hope that helps for the Honorable Member to understand what happened and to clarify the situation. Suffice to say that we as a ministry are putting service. In fact, we did launch a service charter not too long ago in which certain standards are to be observed. So therefore, I invite the Honorable Member for Bwana Mukubwa to visit my office with further information so that the necessary disciplinary and corrective action can be taken in the event of a lapse amongst our own staff on either the ministry's side or as the case may be. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Bwana Mukubwa.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, what I'm failing to reconcile from the submission of my minister is that we came up with a program, Parliament and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Minister, we applied for visas in the first leg through the Italian embassy. Within the stipulated, everything was done by Foreign Affairs. It was done in good time. The ministry again came back and said, we are going for a second leg. Let's make application, and is facilitated by the Ministry, Madam Speaker, of Foreign Affairs. What I'm failing to reconcile is how can the same ministry, Madam Speaker, which knows the timelines, who are organizing the trip, can fail to acquire the visas on time, and it was out of time. That is what we are failing to reconcile, Madam Speaker, and that's why I want the minister to give us what transpired, because it was not done by Parliament, but Ministry of Foreign Affairs themselves. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I thank the Honorable Member for Bwana Mukubwa for using the floor of the House as an inquest process. Madam Speaker, I think my ministerial statement is absolutely clear. And the essence of it is to address the impression that was created in this unfortunate situation that there is a challenge in terms of the diplomatic relations between Zambia and its partners. That is the gist of the ministerial statement. If then the Honorable Member for Bwana Mukubwa is dissatisfied in terms of processes that were undertaken between Parliament as an institution and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, I have submitted that this is a matter that would call for disciplinary action, which disciplinary action cannot be meted by any process we're undertaking in this House currently. We will only create a talking shop. If we really want to get to the bottom of the matter and resolve it and take care to make sure that it doesn't happen again, that evidence, that discussion must be had at administrative level between the ministry and Parliament officials. I'll end there, Madam Speaker. I think that is sufficiently clear.
The Honorable Member for Kanyama.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and Minister, thank you so much for a number of, valued, responses. However, I just want to find out, I believe and agree the fact that different countries have got different rules in which they administer these visas and the like. Now, what I believe in is the fact that a diplomatic passport, once it's issued, is for a particular purpose, and among them is to facilitate the flow of those who are conferred with that status, and they can attend to any emergency at any given time. Now, looking at honorable members, there are times when they are required to attend to certain issues within a short period of time. Now, looking at the period through which we have been given that this is how will the members of Parliament or honorable members manage to fit in within, maybe they are only asked for 2 days in which to respond or attend to? How do they manage to answer to such requests from different institutions? Otherwise, I submit.
The Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I thank the Honourable Member of Kanyama for that question. Indeed, as the Honourable Member has alluded, the essence of the diplomatic passport is to confer diplomatic status on the individual that holds the passport. What does this entail? It entails, for example, that they will enjoy the immunities and privileges that are bestowed on diplomats under the Vienna Convention. What the Honourable Minister is asking is in relation to emergency travel, which I think is outside of the scope of our conversation here, because we are discussing travel in the ordinary course of business. Emergency travel is dealt with in exactly that fashion and on a case-by-case basis. So it does not mean that because there are specific timelines for the ordinary day-to-day issuance of visas, that there could not be consideration for any intending traveler for emergency purposes. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Chipili.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I think the question has been answered, because in your statement, I just want to add, in your statement you stated that there are categories. There's category 1 where like ministers and other senior government officials who are in that group. But my question is, I wanted to find out from you, what is the purpose, or give me 3 reasons why you think you can give diplomatic passport to honorable members of Parliament, which has no advantage? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I do not think that it would be quite fair or correct to suggest that a diplomatic passport has got no advantages. As to me giving 3 reasons, I think I would invite the Honourable Member, being the holder of a diplomatic passport, to understand the passport that he holds by visiting the Vienna Convention of 1961. It would detail what you enjoy in terms of diplomatic status when you travel. So, Madam Speaker, the position I would give is that the Vienna Convention has got all the answers that you would want in terms of the benefits of a diplomatic passport. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Luasenshi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, I followed you when you are providing answers. And in your response, you mentioned issue of USA. My question, Honorable Minister, is concerning the notably that USA or your ministry do issue when you are doing your official visit to USA. There is this part, Madam Speaker, if you are not a government official and you are intending to visit USA, you are subjected for B1 and B2, which I'm sure the Honorable Minister is conversant with. And for B1, you have to pay $10,000. Then B2, you have to pay 15,000 US dollars. And this is in form of a bond where some people are very difficult to get this money. And now my question to you, Honorable Minister, what measures are you putting in place to ensure that you lessen burden? Because raising $10,000 for somebody to travel, excluding air tickets, very few people can afford. And some, they want maybe to visit their relatives. Some, they have to do some businesses because we are living in a global village. What measures are you putting in place to ensure that this burden can be lessened? I submit.
The Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I thank the Honorable Member for that very important question, the Honorable Member for Luwasenshi. Madam Speaker, the measures that are being put in place, the Honorable Member for Luwasenshi will recall that when I returned from the UN General Assembly, I did issue a ministerial statement, and that question that the Honorable Member is raising now was addressed, which is that amongst the engagements that we had on the sidelines of UNGA 80 was a trip to Washington, D.C., where we had engagements with our counterparts from the United States of America and a meeting with colleagues from the State Department, and these engagements continue at the very highest level. Amongst the engagements, as is noted in my ministerial statement, we had recently a conversation between the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, and the Secretary of State for the United States of America, Mr. Marco Rubio, where matters relating to our relationship were discussed, including, as it were, this issue of the visa bonds that apply not when you're going to visit your relatives, by the way, but for B1, B2, which you have quite correctly stated, relate to business and business tourism. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The last member, the Honorable Member for Ron.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and Honorable Minister. Thank you very much for the statement. Honorable Minister, the failure by the German embassy to issue or give the visas to the traveling party of the honorable members, and indeed the officials from your ministry, aroused a lot of speculations in the country, some speculating that maybe they were challenges or indeed there were some brushes in terms of diplomatic relationship with Germany. My question, Honorable Minister, is very simple. I want you to tell the nation and indeed the House, if at all there has been such an occurrence before. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I thank the Honourable Member for Ron for that question. I do believe that there have been instances when challenges with issuance of visas, not only in relation to Schengen states, but across the globe have arisen, even for us, Honourable Members of Parliament. I specifically recall that myself as Minister of Justice did have to forego one trip because of these administrative challenges. Of course, being alive to the fact that we cannot debate parliamentary business, I would end there. But suffice to say, I would like to take this opportunity again that the relations between Zambia and Germany remain very, very strong. And in fact, in relation to our Schengen countries, I think the members of the public would benefit from some statistical information which would help to ease these thoughts that are going through some of the minds of our members and indeed of the members of the public. Madam Speaker, the use of third-party visa processing is not unique to Zambia. We have many African countries, actually 70% of processing is done through third-party issuance. In Malawi, the process is done through Nairobi for Schengen visas via the Swedish embassy in Nairobi, and the time period is 10 to 15 days plus courier time. Rwanda also, Schengen visas are processed through either Nairobi or Dar es Salaam and only expedited for ministers and above. That is the fast-track process. Uganda, Tanzania, and Burundi process their Schengen visa requests through Nairobi, and passports need to be couriered as well. Botswana and Namibia process via Pretoria. Lesotho and Eswatini, the Schengen visas are also processed via Pretoria with a courier system to Zambia. Outside of the African continent, Madam Speaker, Cambodia requires to process its Schengen visas through Bangkok, and the time period is the same. Laos is equal to Cambodia, it processes through Bangkok. Nepal processes through New Delhi in India. Mongolia processes through Beijing, and the Maldives process through Sri Lanka. Madam Speaker, therefore, it is clearly shown that each sovereign country decides how it issues its visas. Zambia is no exception, and that cannot be a basis to then say that there could be a challenge with our bilateral relations. And we must adhere to those timeframes as much as possible, obviously, except where there is an emergency or some other exception that we would like to put in place. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The clerk will now read the orders of the day.
The Property Transfer Tax Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 23 of 2025, second reading.
The Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the bill be now read a second time.
The question is that the bill be now read a second time. Any debate? The Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning.
Madam Speaker, the bill before this House is principally seeking to amend the Property Transfer Tax Act so as to A, extend the tax relief applicable to a company transferring the shares and a company receiving the shares that has been part of a group of companies which is subject of a group reorganization. B, limit the forms of surrender or forfeiture of shares for no consideration that are exempt from property transfer tax. And C, provide for matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing. Madam Speaker, I commend the bill to the House.
Any further debate? The chairperson of the Planning and Budgeting Committee, the Honorable Member for Momba.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, in line with the committee's terms of reference, understanding orders 204, number 4D of the National Assembly of Zambia, standing orders 2024, the committee held 10 meetings and received submissions from a wide range of stakeholders, including government ministries, parastatals, industry, civil society, and think tanks to consider money bills referred to it by the House. Madam Speaker, the Property Transfer Tax Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 23 of 2025, seeks to amend the Property Transfer Tax Act, extend the relief applicable to group reorganizations under the Act to cases that result in change of shareholding with respect to a company incorporated in Zambia. This is in order to provide clarity on tax treatment for intra-group transactions and to close identified loopholes while facilitating legitimate business restructuring. These amendments, Madam Speaker, are intended to ensure that taxation is aligned with true economic ownership, promote investment efficiency, and reduce costs associated with internal reorganizations. Madam Speaker, the committee commends the executive for the progressive amendments contained in the bill, notably the provision allowing the Commissioner General to determine a new value for transfers of shares during group reorganizations. This will encourage long-term productivity and capital formation and clarify the exemptions relating to the surrender or forfeiture of shares for non-consideration. Madam Speaker, stakeholders were concerned about the 3-year requirement for companies involved in a group reorganization to qualify for new value treatment. They were of the view that this may unduly restrict legitimate restructuring activities, particularly for distressed companies, public-private partnerships, and special purposes vehicles that may require rapid reorganization. The committee therefore recommends that the 3-year requirement for group reorganization to be exempt from paying property transfer tax be reviewed. Further, Madam Speaker, the committee recommends the publication of clear guidelines or the criteria that the Commissioner General will apply to determine whether group reorganization qualifies for new value treatment. Such guidelines, Madam Speaker, will promote transparency, predictability, and consistency in application, thereby reducing uncertainty for businesses. Madam Speaker, as I conclude, I wish to place on record the committee's sincere gratitude to all the stakeholders who made submissions, and to you, Madam Speaker, and the Clerk of the National Assembly for the guidance and the support that was rendered during or throughout this important study. Madam Speaker, I beg to move.
Thank you. Any further debate? I see none. The Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning, wind-up debate.
Madam Speaker, I wish to thank the Planning and Budgeting Committee and the House for supporting the bill. I also wish to take note of the observations made by the committee, as well as the issues they have raised. I wish to indicate that the 3-year requirement is an anti-avoidance safeguard against short-term restructuring designed purely to avoid tax. This safeguard is important in protecting fiscal integrity. The 3-year requirement only applies for group reorganization with a parent company outside the Republic. Madam, the committee has recommended that the criteria that the Commissioner General will use in determining a new value should be published in order to create clarity and consistency in application of the provision. This is well noted, and I will instruct the Commissioner General to do likewise through the practice notes. Madam Speaker, thank you.
Order. I put the question. The question is that the bill be now read a second time. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Of the contrary say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Let the bill be read a second time.
The Property Transfer Tax Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 23 of 2025.
Committee stage to be taken when?
Wednesday, 10th December 2025.
Committee stage to be taken on Wednesday, 10th December 2025. Next order.
The Mobile Money Transaction Levy Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 24 of 2025, second reading.
The Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the bill be now read a second time.
The question is that the bill be now read a second time. Any debate? The Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning.
Madam Speaker, I wish to thank the Planning and Budgeting Committee and the honorable members. Oh, I'm sorry. I think I'm reading somewhere else. Madam Speaker, the bill before this House is principally seeking to amend the Mobile Money Transaction Levy Act so as to A, revise the levy payable on a person-to-person transfer, and B, provide for matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing. Madam Speaker, the bill is straightforward, and I commend it to the House.
Thank you. Any further debate? The chairperson of the Planning and Budgeting Committee, the honorable member for Momba constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, in line with its terms of reference, understanding order 204 number 4 of the National Assembly Standing Orders 2024, the committee held 10 meetings to scrutinize the Mobile Money Transactions Levy Amendment Bill. In doing so, the committee interacted with various stakeholders from government ministries, the financial sector, regulatory institutions, professional bodies, civil society organizations, and mobile money operators. Madam Speaker, this bill seeks to revise the levy payable on person-to-person mobile transfers and to strengthen the administrative framework for its implementation. The committee notes that this measure forms part of government's broader effort to enhance domestic resource mobilization. Madam Speaker, the stakeholders who appeared before the committee held mixed views on the proposed measures in the bill. While some supported the measures as a necessary step towards widening the tax base, others raised concerns about the possibility of inhibiting financial inclusion, raising transaction costs, and discouraging the use of digital financial services. Madam Speaker, having carefully considered these submissions, the committee has highlighted a number of its key observations and recommendations. Madam Speaker, the committee observes that the bill proposes to expand the scope of person-to-person transfers to include transactions made to oneself. While this amendment closes existing loopholes and ensures greater fairness in digital taxation, it also raises a broader policy issue. The committee is concerned about the rapid escalation of the mobile money transaction levy over the years. The levy was introduced as a minimal charge in 2023, but it has seen an increase annually by margins exceeding 100%. Madam Speaker, the committee wishes to caution the executive that such frequent and substantial increases pose a great risk to the use of digital payment systems. The sharp increase also inhibits innovation and undermines the national financial inclusion agenda. The committee, therefore, Madam Speaker, recommends that the executive must consider adopting a more predictable, gradual, and evidence-based approach to taxation in the mobile money sector. It is the view of the committee that future adjustments must reflect industry maturity, affordability, and the need to promote the growth of the digital financial services. Madam Speaker, the committee also observes that the revised levy schedule is intended to generate an estimated amount of 540 million kwacha as additional revenue. While the committee supports the objective of enhancing domestic resource mobilization, it expresses concern on the need to protect low-income and vulnerable users who rely heavily on mobile money transactions for their daily economic activities. Madam Speaker, the committee observes that these excessive increases across all slabs could disproportionately impact women, youth, smallholder farmers, and the small and medium enterprises who form most of the users of digital financial services. Such increases may encourage users to revert back to cash-based systems, undermine transaction formalization, and reduce the very revenues the measure seeks to mobilize. Madam Speaker, the committee is of the view that the executive must explore other options by creating a more calibrated and equitably levy structure to avoid this effect. In conclusion, as I wish to state that the committee recognizes the importance of strengthening domestic resource mobilization. However, it emphasizes that fiscal measures must be carefully calibrated so that they do not stifle digital financial inclusion, discourage mobile money usage, or impede the growth of the digital economy. Subject to the executive addressing the concerns raised in this report, Madam Speaker, the committee supports the bill. Madam Speaker, I wish to express the committee's sincere gratitude to all the stakeholders who made submissions and to you, and the Clerk of the National Assembly for your guidance and support throughout the deliberations. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Any further debate? The Honorable Member for Shiwangandu.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for allowing me to make a few comments in support of the recommendations ably made by the chairperson from the Planning and Budgeting Committee. Madam Speaker, this levy under discussion today is one of the levies that has been adjusted every year. And for the ordinary citizens to understand, this is a levy now applicable to the money mobile transfers that people have been using, especially the unbankable citizens, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it is interesting that even when you want to move money from Airtel, if you have got two lines, Airtel to Zamtel, that money will be levied. So it's just like levying money from the left pocket to the right pocket. How are we going to help the unbanked, Honorable Minister, if this is the way we are going to proceed? Madam Speaker, this is a platform that teachers in the villages or elsewhere who are taxed for whose money is taxed in terms of salaries. Now you want to send some money to your mother to buy fertilizer, it should attract this levy. This is the basic understanding. You can question if you don't understand. So what the committee is suggesting, Madam Speaker, must be taken note of by the Honorable Minister. Madam Speaker, the definition under Clause 2, which seeks to amend Section 2, providing for the definition of money, of person-to-person transfer. This is on assumption that you are sending to someone else all the time. But like I've said, you may want to just buy airtime on Cell Z. You have got a bit of money in Airtel. To move that money to Zamtel, it is levied. And that's why I was giving an example, Madam Speaker, of getting money taxed just from one side of the pocket to another. So this, Honorable Minister, you need to appreciate. The committee suggests, Madam Speaker, gradual increment. Now, if you look at the proposals in this levy, in this division, if you are sending between 150 kwacha to 300 kwacha, the levy used to be 20 kwacha. The proposal is to adjust it to 40 kwacha, Madam Speaker. It's 100%. If you have to send between 300 and 500 kwacha, it's being adjusted from 40 kwacha to 80, from 40 ngwe to 80 ngwe, which is another 100%. So, Madam Speaker, other categories of via notches are already catered for in terms of revenue. And so, Minister, pay attention to this proposal coming from the committee, where they are proposing that you reduce the first 4 slabs from a projected average of 100% down to 50% in terms of adjustments. They are also proposing that reduce the 100,000 kwacha to 300,000 kwacha slabs from 200% proposed by the executive to 25%, and set the last 2 slabs to 0 because they are already covered by other taxes. Madam Speaker, this is a humble request coming from your committee. Because like I've said, whilst we support the minister's move to adjust domestic revenue mobilization, he also has to strike a balance between that need and his own policy of inclusiveness, national financial inclusive policy, which is a strategy couched by his ministry. So you are saying people must not be left behind. Those unbanked who do not have bank accounts can still be allowed to transact. That's the whole essence of the strategy. Further, your committee, Madam Speaker, observes that the committee is of a view that, like the chairperson has said, a moderate and tiered approach, such as reducing the first 4 lower slabs, like I've mentioned earlier, adjust the mid-range slab to 25%, and setting the last 2 to 0. Yes, we'll see the minister maybe reduced in terms of what he projected to realize from these transactions, but it can still be covered by the other high notches, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it's also worth noting that, like the chairperson of the committee stated, that since the 2023 Act, which had introduced this levy as a minimal charge, it has now been increasing every year, exceeding 100%, Madam Speaker, with most of the proposals in some instances surpassing the actual customer transaction charges applied by operators. Because mind you, Madam Speaker, the operators also have got a small charge, which they charge for you to transact. When you are saying 150, there's a fixed charge that the operators will charge. Now, in addition, the minister is also going to add this levy. So you'll see how expensive it is going to become for the lower bracket of people that are in the informal sector, those that just deal in small volumes. So, Madam Speaker, we'll be with the minister if he decides to come to this August House with proposals to increase taxes and levies to those who are earning a lot and guaranteed, power supply, the mining industry. Yes, you have to support them in terms of production. But if we can make more from there, it's important that's why we focus than targeting these small, earning citizens.
There's an indication for a point of order. The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise on a point of order on Honorable Katuta, Member of Parliament for Chiengi. My point of order is pursuant to Standing Order 213 on the conduct of members. I specifically want to refer to Standing Order number 213-2. Madam Speaker, is Honorable Katuta in order to circulate an article written by herself casting aspersions on the conduct of your committee, the select committee that was constituted to scrutinize Bill 10, Bill 7. For ease of reference, Madam Speaker, Honorable Katuta writes on her Facebook page, these are the members of Parliament who have been selected by the Speaker to scrutinize in the infamous Bill 7. Looking at the composition of this select committee, I can only tell Zambians to pray harder for God's divine mercy. She names Honorable Garin Kombo Mazabuka, Honorable Siveso Mwandi Sefulo, Brian Kambita, Emmanuel Banda, Swangire Mwamba, Honorable Anakoka, Jacqueline Sabao, Stanley Kakubo, Honorable Newton Samakai, Simon Banda, Wamunyima Imanga, Meshek Nyambose, Elias Daka, Davis Mungandu, and George Kandafula. Is she in order, Madam Speaker, to say that these members are dishonorable, they cannot be trusted unless God intervenes and God gives them a certain direction so that they can reason? Is she in order to cast aspersions on all these honorable members of parliament you have given the honor on behalf of this august house to scrutinize Bill 7? Is she in order, Madam Speaker?
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. The point of order sounds not to be okay. However, there have been issues that have been raised that come from social media. And we have never admitted such matters. As far as we are concerned, we cannot rely on social media. Had it been any other reliable source, I was going to make a ruling. But since we are relying on social media, we cannot admit the point of order. The honorable member who was debating may continue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Before I was disturbed by the Honorable Minister, I was just about to conclude.
Just continue, honorable member for Shiwangandu. You were not disturbed. Points of order are allowed. We just have to accommodate them.
Madam Speaker, in conclusion, I know that the minister wants to realize more than 500 million out of this venture, but I will just end with a quote from your report, Madam Speaker, that the committee urges the executive to avoid imposing excessive increases that may inhibit the growth of the digital financial ecosystem, discourage innovation, or undermine ongoing financial inclusion efforts. A stable and well-sequenced tax regime could enable operators plan effectively, which will help them contribute to a long-term revenue generation without compromising sector expansion. That's what the committee is asking, and we expect that the minister will be considerate of these recommendations from your report, Madam Speaker, because we have to support the unbanked citizens of this country, other than imposing these heavy levies that may impact not only on the sector,
time is up.
but also to our people who are already taxed, because the money they sent on these platforms is already taxed. I thank you. You don't follow these issues.
The honorable member for Zambezi East.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity to debate the motion which is on the floor of the House. Madam Speaker, at the outset, I would like to state it that I support the report of your Committee on Planning and Budgeting, which speaks to the money bill, and in this case, the bill that seeks to adjust taxes related to mobile money transactions. Madam Speaker, anything to do with taxation is guided by principles that were set out by one very important scholar in our lives, Adam Smith, in 1776, who came up with the 4 canons of taxation. And these principles to date still stand as the most vital principles used in taxation. Governments over the world, developed and underdeveloped, focus on the 4 canons of taxation. As we debate this motion, I would like us to measure on these world standards that are set. Probably you are misleading people out there as though the Minister of Finance just came up with some dreamt measures to disadvantage citizens. But I'm speaking from a well-informed point of view. And I'm on terra firma that the Minister of Finance has actually looked for the best avenue to widen the tax base. Year in, year out, the opposition have been crying out loud here, requesting government to broaden the tax base, without them giving solutions of how the tax base can be broadened. This is one of the avenues of broadening the tax base. And when you broaden the tax base on the premise of the 4 canons of taxation.
Order, Honorable Member. There's an indication for a point of order. The Honorable Member for Shiwangand, what is your point of order?
Madam Speaker, I rise on the point of order pursuant to Standing Order 71. Madam Speaker, we have got a report on the floor from your own committee, which has been informing our debate. The Honorable Member who has opted to lecture to us the genesis of taxing is now insinuating that here we have been crying to the Minister to broaden the tax base, and I know that the Minister is adequate enough to respond to this report we are speaking to. He's the Honorable Member who is on the floor in order to make insinuations. I don't know if he has had sight of this report from your committee on planning and budgeting, which we have been speaking to start making insinuations which are not contained in this report and give us lectures of the genesis of taxing. Is it in order, Madam Speaker, to proceed in that fashion? The Minister is there to respond to the report. I seek your serious ruling.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Zambezi East, please, as you debate, just try to link the examples to the issues contained in the report, so that in that way, we'll say that you are not outside the report. Just whatever example you have, link it to the content of the report. You may continue.
Madam Speaker, the problem here is the wavelength of my debate.
You may continue, Honorable
I think
Member.
I'm operating at a very high wavelength, which is very difficult to catch. And I'll boil it down to what we are discussing here, Madam Speaker. It is a tax measure.
Just continue with your debate.
Madam Speaker, this is a tax measure. Any tax measure has a genesis and a basis on how it's actually made. And we have a schedule in that report, including the bill itself. There's a schedule there of how these levies will actually be administered. But then, how were these figures arrived at? Do they actually meet the standards set, which are followed world over among those 4 canons of taxation, which I propounded at the outset of my debate? The first one is equity. Is this tax measure equitable? Is it the kind of measure which will enable the citizen pay without them feeling it? Tax measures are made in such a way that the payer must pay according to their ability. And when you look at that schedule, it's graduating. So measuring it against that yardstick of equity as propounded by Adam Smith, it meets the standard. Talking about certainty, because it has been given clearly, if you are transferring this much up to this much, this is the amount which you would pay as a levy. It is certain, it is not ambiguous. Therefore, we cannot cry. And this is the second canon of taxation that I'm talking about. The third one is convenience. Is it convenient? It doesn't bother anyone, because as long as you transact, the levy is levied on you and you are paid. It's very convenient. Members of this august house. The fourth canon is economy. How expensive is it for the minister to collect this tax? It is so cheap because transactions are happening there, while this money is being collected by the mobile money dealer, and it will be transmitted as taxation. Therefore, honorable members, the reason to why we come to this august house to argue about measures is when we are informed. When we are informed of something that will really affect the people that we represent. But when we can explain these things clearly the way I'm explaining them, it means that whatever measures the minister has come up with are not outside the parameters. For lack of much more simpler language, Madam Speaker, I just thought of really explaining these things. Using those examples, they might be too much of a high wavelength for honorable members on the left-hand side to understand, but I'm sure the minister understands what I'm talking about. And everyone else who understands the principles of taxation will also understand that these measures are actually around those four canons of taxation as espoused by Adam Smith. Madam Speaker, I thought of just making these few comments to support this, this motion which is on the floor of the House. And I thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity.
Those are some of the debating styles. The honorable member for Chipiri, I'll take the first member who had indicated. The honorable member for Chipiri, what is your point of
Thank you,
order?
Madam Speaker. I think standing order number
I can only take 1 point of order at a time.
71.
He was the first one to indicate.
Madam Speaker, the corroborator who was corroborating in his corroboration, as he was corroborating, pointing at this side, because they don't understand. When no one is refusing, no one was said this bill should not go through. This bill, everyone is supporting it. But the report has stated very, very clearly that they should reduce. So instead of 100%, they could come to 50% increment. That's what the report is saying. Now he's talking something else. Is he in order? Send him out. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Member for Chipiri. That point of order is not even cited, and I couldn't even get it. Your point of order is not admissible. Thank you. The Honorable Member Pompika, do you want to debate? Because I've seen the name on, off, on, off, on, off. Are you ready to debate, or you're still
Very
doubting
much ready,
yourself?
Madam Speaker. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity for me to add the voice of the people of Mpika on this very important subject. If I don't do, Madam Speaker, I will be doing a service to the people that elected me to come and represent them. All of them, Madam Speaker, they depend on the mobile money transactions to transfer their money to other users across the networks. This is the more reason why, Madam Speaker, I have to add their voice to this very important subject. Madam Speaker, the intention of this bill, and let me put it on record, that even when in 2024 it was being enacted, I stood here objecting to the enactment of such a law, taking into account that on this platform, that's where the poor people who cannot take their money to the bank are, and introducing taxes on this platform would be very unfair on our poor people. Even today, Madam Speaker, I take a similar stance in the best interest of consistency. Madam Speaker, at a time when these measures are being undertaken in the name of domestic resource mobilization, like the previous speaker said, mining companies from which we need to collect a lot of resources are enjoying some sort of tax incentives. Not only that, Madam Speaker, reports by credible international organizations, such as the Amnesty International, to be specific, its report for 2023 cited glaring tax evasion on the mines, amounting to $4.5 billion US. I would expect the Minister of Finance to come with a bill to this House of the People to seek that we enact a law that will stiffen punishment on corporate tax evasion. And I would also expect the minister to do everything possible and every strategy in the book to come up with measures that will seal up the loopholes where this corporate tax evasion is taking place. We are here discussing mobile money transaction levy collection in the name of domestic revenue mobilization. Madam Speaker, if I were the Minister of Finance today, under this UPND government, I would not even think of coming up with such a bill in a country where foreigners are looting our resources illegally so, including in Mpika, Madam Speaker. Foreigners have camped in a bush, mining gold, and they are taking it out. Madam Speaker, this report has proposed, this bill is proposing upward adjustments on the levies that have to be levied on person-to-person mobile transactions. And like I have stated, even if I cannot support this. I cannot support this because this is a demonstration that under the UPND, our people will be taxed, yet foreigners come here to get our minerals on tax holidays, based on a promissory note that they will increase production to 3 million metric tons. Madam Speaker, in Eastern Congo, there is a war right now. Investors are still flocking there to go and mine the minerals in Eastern Congo. But here, people are saying, no, they can only come here when you give them incentives such as the tax holidays.
The
Yet in Eastern
honorable
Congo,
member for Mpika, now you've gone outside the mobile money bill. Now we are talking about mining. Can you please come back to the content of the bill? I haven't seen any mining talked about. This is a bill that is talking about the mobile money. So please have that in mind as you continue with your debate.
thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'm talking about how best the minister can alternatively mobilize resources locally instead of depending on mobile money transaction levies. Madam Speaker, I'm doing this in the best interest of the poor people in our country, the best interest of the youths, Madam Speaker, who are unemployed but depend on these platforms for them to transact. It's the more reason why, Madam Speaker, I was trying to give you an example of Eastern Congo, where mining is still taking place, despite there is a war which is existing right now. Here, Madam Speaker, investors have to be given all manner of good incentives, including tax holidays. Yet our people are being taxed not only on these platforms, they are being taxed everywhere, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as I conclude, I want to appeal to the UPND government that please seal up the loopholes of tax evasion from the mining sector. Even when you have Sujilite, which was confiscated in Mansa,
The honorable member from Mpika, I think I had guided. You are bringing in so much of mining. Please, just concentrate on the bill. We are looking at the mobile money transaction bill. Very straightforward. If we are talking about mining, maybe you can bring any example about mining. Can you conclude with issues to do with mobile money so that your people will get you? Just conclude.
The Honorable Member of Parliament for Shangombo we should know that we are doing this because there is need for domestic revenue mobilization. And that can be best done when we abolish the tax holidays that mining companies enjoy. We need the money, and that's where the money should come from. Honorable Minister of Finance, please, we beg of you, this won't take our country anywhere. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning wind up debate.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, when this budget was presented, this House applauded the fact that for the first time in many years, most of the revenues were being generated domestically at 4%. And this is the way it should be, because our development must be financed by ourselves. 84% domestic revenue means that we, the citizens of this country, have to pay the taxes. That's what it means. And the good thing, Madam Speaker, is that unlike in the past, when taxes are paid today,
the Honorable Member for Mukushi North, you've just come and you are disturbing the proceedings of the House. Kindly leave the House for today. Leave the House today. Don't even log in. There's nothing that you've done. Please, just leave the House. The Honorable Minister of Finance, you may continue.
Thank you, Madam. Madam Speaker, I was saying that in this government, when taxes are paid, this money goes back to the taxpayers. Because when taxes are paid, children, including those of the very poorest children, are financed to go to school. When taxes are paid, medicine is available in hospitals. When taxes are paid, classrooms are being constructed in the rural areas. So this money that we are collecting from the Zambians goes back to the Zambians to bring them development. It's not being stolen, as was the case in the past. Madam Speaker, let me say that the charge that the increase in the levy has been excessive. I would suspect that it comes about because of misunderstanding, because Honorable for Shawangando, he was Honorable Kapyongo, yes. He started off by saying that the fee of sending 150 to 300, the charge rises from 20 kwacha to 40 kwacha. No, it is not from 20 kwacha to 40 ngwe. It's from 20 ngwe to 40 ngwe. I'm correcting you because your message went out, which is misleading the people, and therefore it is important that I correct you. The charge from if you are sending from 150 to 300 kwacha, the charge you pay is not 20 kwacha. The charge is not from 20 to 40. The charge is from 20 ngwe to 40 ngwe only. So, Madam Speaker, how can anyone reasonably say that to ask for 40 ngwe from somebody who is transacting and who is paying even a big amount to the company that is sending the money? How can you honestly say that 40 ngwe is too much? 40 ngwe is punishing the Zambians. Colleagues, let's be honest. Moving from 20 ngwe to 40 ngwe, yes, you are saying that it is 100%. But you are confusing people deliberately because you know that 100% of from 20 ngwe to 40 ngwe is such a small amount of money. It's a very small amount of money. So, Madam Speaker, this also answers the issue that they've raised, which is tax evasion. We know, Madam Speaker, that in this country, the branch of paying taxes goes to the people in the formal sector. People who are teachers, people who are nurses, people who are clerks, people who are policemen. They are the ones who are paying tax every month. But we also know that there are people in the informal sector who make much more money than these people. In the informal sector, yes. People who are marketeers, people who are welders, people who are bricklayers, they earn much more money compared to the civil servants that we are overburdened with the tax today. So under those circumstances, what is wrong with asking a marketeer selling carpenter to pay 40 ngwe to contribute to the national resources? What is wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. And the 40 ngwe. And the more important point is that this money goes back to the same Zambians who are paying the taxes so that their children go to school, they have medicines, they've got roads. This is the way each and every one of us is going to contribute to the welfare of our country. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. I put the question. The question is that the bill be now read a second time. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Of the contrary say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Let the bill be read the second time.
The Mobile Money Transaction Levy Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 24 of 2025.
Committee stage to be taken when?
Madam Speaker, the committee stage to be taken on the 10th of December, which is a Wednesday.
Committee stage to be taken on Wednesday, 10th December 2025. Next order.
The Betting Levy Bill, National Assembly Bill number 31 of 2025, second reading.
The Minister of Finance and National Planning.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the bill be now read a second time.
The question is that the bill be now read a second time. Any debate? The Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the bill before this House is principally seeking to amend the Betting Levy Act so as to A, provide for the imposition, payment, and collection of a betting levy, B, provide for matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing. Madam Speaker, the bill is straightforward, and I commend it to the House.
Any further debate? The chairperson of the Planning and Budgeting Committee, the Honorable Member for Momba.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, in accordance with these terms of reference, understanding order 204 number 4D of the National Assembly Standing Orders 2024, the Planning and Budgeting Committee was tasked to scrutinize the Betting Levy Bill number 31 of 2025 for the 5th session of the 13th National Assembly. In looking at the bill, Madam Speaker, the committee engaged a wide range of stakeholders, including both state and non-state actors. Madam Speaker, the betting levy seeks to establish a clear and dedicated legal framework for the imposition, payment, and collection of betting levy. This is necessary because the current framework, Madam Speaker, for tax on online betting is fragmented, with different taxes being applied under different laws. The bill aims to consolidate these arrangements and provide a more transparent and predictable system for imposing tax online betting activities. Madam Speaker, stakeholders welcomed the bill as a step towards a more sustainable betting tax framework. They were of the view that the existing 10% excise duty on betting services had significantly affected the industry, leading to a sharp reduction in the betting activities. The reduction in betting activities has consequently led to lower tax revenue to the Treasury. They therefore viewed the new betting levy as a more realistic and fair approach that could support revenue mobilization while ensuring the industry remains sustainable. However, Madam Speaker, stakeholders were concerned that the existing 10% excise duty under the Customs and Excise Act had not been repealed. They warned that keeping this duty alongside the new levy would place an unfair double taxation burden on the industry and could seriously threaten its survival. The committee shares the view of the stakeholders in this regard and therefore recommends that the government should remove the 10% excise duty on betting services to align the tax framework with the betting levy bill and support the stability of the online betting subsector. Madam Speaker, the committee also observes that the bill does not define important terms such as deposit, withdrawal, customer gaming account, gross deposit, and gross withdrawals. The committee is concerned that the absence of the definitions for these important terms create an uncertainty in the calculation of the levy and lead to disputes between operators and the Zambia Revenue Authority. Therefore, the committee recommends that the bill be amended to include clear definitions of these key terms in order to provide clarity, improve compliance, and ensure consistent application of the levy. Madam Speaker, the committee further observes that the clause 5 of the bill, which defines the tax base as gross amounts received or paid out, is ambiguous and could be interpreted in different ways. To avoid confusion, Madam Speaker, the committee recommends that the clause be amended to clearly indicate that the levy will apply to both gross amounts received and gross amounts paid out. This will simplify calculations and ensure uniform application across operators. Madam Speaker, the committee also observes that for effective collection of the levy and for transparency, it is important that the bill provides for the use of approved payment systems and for a mobile money withholding mechanism. The committee therefore recommends that regulations be issued that, among others, require the use of approved payment systems and establish mobile money operators as withholding agents of this levy. Madam Speaker, as I conclude, allow me to express the committee's sincere appreciation to all the stakeholders who provided valuable input into this process. The committee also extends this gratitude to you, Madam Speaker, and to the acting clerk of the National Assembly for the support and the guidance provided throughout the deliberations. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Any further debate? The Honorable Member for Chirubi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. What we are looking at, Madam Speaker, can be considered as money bills, and they give the minister authority according to Article 202 and 203, and is within the confines of, looking at these money bills. And as it may be, Madam Speaker, the current, the bill on the floor drives its powers mainly from the Betting Control Bill 2, which we need to consider. But Madam Speaker, when we look at the issues of definitions like betting and many other factors, you find that the activities for betting have been broadened. And from the time the Betting Control Act was put in place and the time that we are in now, there is a very big gap because many of the young people who are not employed have resorted to betting as a way of getting some finances. And companies that are involved in betting have expanded also their reach to these same young people, targeting that particular opportunity. Madam Speaker, when we look at betting, whereas the Betting Control Act is managing this particular one, but the word betting is found in the Customs and Excise Act, I think, which we are trying to look at yesterday. The people of Chirubi are concerned mainly on clause 3, 4, 8, and 9. But of course, taking into consideration clause 7. And I will try to anchor the debate around these clauses. I will first talk about the focus of this particular bill. It is targeting a betting company. But, Madam Speaker, as I've already given the background, the man who is saying question, he has got a lot of bonanzas in Kaputa district that I want to address. So, when we look at clause 7, clause 7 is targeting companies, Minister of Finance, and I think as you target companies, Minister of Finance, you need to know that betting has found its way in different forms. And if we confine ourselves to company, we are likely to reap unmopped revenue, because where the man who is saying question comes from, there are a lot of bonanza machines, and that's betting. Usually, I am struggling, Madam Speaker, to to talk about this because partly my faith doesn't allow me much to dwell into things that are to do with these issues that are to do with gambling, but I'll try to gather some energy. Madam Speaker, when we look at what I'm trying to underscore, if you go in the Constitution, you find Article 161, it says a local authority is competent to levy, impose, recover, and retain local taxes as prescribed. And when you talk about as prescribed, it is talking about a local government act. That is where those powers would be. And if those powers would be in the local government act, when we come to the minister where he has anchored much on the money bills, we are using Article 199. And our use of Article 199 is where the minister has the authority to impose a tax as it may be. But when you look at bonanza machines, you look at other forms of betting as prescribed by the Customs and Excise Act, and also supported by the Betting Control Act. You find that some of them are falling outside what has been targeted to be captured. And if that be the case, Madam Speaker, we are talking about likely loss of revenue. And this bill has stuck to the word company. We have seen, I hope Madam Speaker will be allowed to talk about other races like the Chinese have invented much of this betting arrangement according to our definition of what betting is. And they have different machines that qualify to be betting. But the escape is not tabulated in terms of revenue and income. It's not tabulated like these companies which are targeted by this bill captures. For instance, these who bet for football. Yes, the bill catches them. The bonanza machine for a Chinese is not captured by the bill. And that is revenue escaping the Zambian government. There are a lot of these young people, especially in rural areas. Even Honorable Nkandu has got 3 machines as far as I'm concerned, according to my research, which is running as bonanza. At that shop, he knows the shop I'm talking about.
The honorable member for Chiluvi, I think you are moving away from the bill. The bill we are looking at now is the betting levy bill, not the types of betting.
Yeah, Madam Speaker, you cannot look at the types of a tax without looking at the activities. What I'm trying to underscore is the activities that feed into that tax we are talking about, the levy we are talking about. That's why I've mentioned the bonanza machine. It is a betting activity. And when I have mentioned the Article 161, I wanted to create a balance whether that still falls under this, because I've seen councils collecting money from the bonanza or the people that operate bonanza machines. And they are not captured. They are not computed like the companies, which are in clause 6, as emphasized by the bill, does. Madam Speaker, what I was just trying to underscore is that there is a lot of hemorrhage in terms of loss of finance if we are to consider betting activities as they are defined in the acts that I mentioned earlier. So I necessarily didn't want to move away from the what? Because for us to collect these levies and taxes, they are coming from particular activities, and that's what I was trying to underscore. Sorry that I had to go for the Kaputa joke, because the man has been saying question. So, Madam Speaker, what I was trying just to do a lap up is that the people of Truby would support this particular bill, and as we support this particular bill, we would like to caution that the bill, we would have loved for the bill to cover all the activities that are considered as betting, not just those that are done by registered companies. I know that's very difficult to compute, but we are allowing revenue to escape. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Shiwangandu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I will make very few brief comments on this bill. And I want to start by urging the Minister to take time to look at the reports that are coming from your Committee on Planning and Budgeting. Because when he's responding and when we are debating using the reports, it's not our own views. It's the views coming from stakeholders, including our people we represent, Minister. So when we say Fortengwe is
The Honorable
100%.
Member for Shiwangandu, we've already closed that bill.
Madam Speaker, you should know that we are dealing with the poorest. This betting, which is now under debate, and the point my colleague was trying to belabor, is that betting is different categories. There is that betting that participates in the Katunturu. This is the Minister for Youth, who have got money, excess money, where they go to bet. That's a different category. And there's a category, Madam Speaker, where now you find these jobless youths who day in you find them, they are jobless, they don't do anything. Go to bet about football, go to bet about the machines that Honorable Fube was referring to, the Bonanza, called Bonanza machines. Jobless youths who are a time bomb, Madam Speaker. And we can pretend here and pretend that this is not happening on the ground, but this is the reality that we find on the ground. So even when you are targeting to generate revenue, which is the responsibility of the Minister of Finance, you must also be sensitive and realistic to what is obtaining on the ground, Madam Speaker. These jobless youths are not earning anything much when they go to bet in those bet as the Katunturu would earn in their betting, who have got excess money. So when they go to those Chinese casino and question themselves.
The Honorable Member for Shiwangandu, like I had advised the Honorable Member for Chirubi, this betting levy bill is talking about, if you read the introduction, it seeks to establish a comprehensive legal framework for the imposition, payment, and collection of a betting levy to ensure that all online betting activities are taxed under a single purpose designed framework. Online. So can we just stick our debate towards that? We know there are so many types of activities under betting, but here we are guided to say that all online. So maybe with that guide you may proceed.
Madam Speaker, like I said, I'll be very brief. Yes, it's online betting. And the people you find online with on these phones are jobless youths who bet online betting. They bet for results of football and all manner of betting. So even as they are coming up with that comprehensive approach, Madam Speaker, they need to take into account that we have got these jobless youths who will spend the whole day just doing betting to try and earn a living. That's what we are saying, online. And the minister should also focus on targeting the bigger bettors, like the Katuntulus. Okay. So these are the ones who have got excess income, which they can go and spend without feeling it.
What is Katuntulus?
A Katuntulu is a reference made to a senior person who is in government, and he likes doing tantamen, giving handouts to people, handouts of money. So they refer to him as a Katuntulu. It is a big bonanza, in short. So, Madam Speaker, with those few remarks,
is that
I
betting
submit.
now? Thank you. I don't think it's part of this debate. The Honorable Minister of Finance wind up debate.
Madam Speaker, I wish to thank the committee and the honorable members for supporting the bill. I also wish to take note of the observations and the recommendations made by the committee, as well as issues raised by honorable members. May I take this opportunity to respond to some of them? Madam Speaker, I wish to indicate that the betting levy is replacing the current tax regime on online betting. This means that the 10% excise duty, the presumptive taxes, and withholding tax will be abolished. Madam, the committee has observed that some core terms such as deposits, withdrawals, and customer gaming account have not been defined. Further, the committee has recommended that the bill should be clear on tax base of the levy. These housekeeping concerns have been noted, and the bill will be amended accordingly. Madam Speaker, the amendment will also cover the exemption of brick and mortar casinos and other concern over the computation of deposits and withdrawals. Madam Speaker, I beg to move.
Thank you. I put the question. The question is that the bill be now read a second time. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Of the contrary say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Let the bill be read a second time.
The Betting Levy Bill, National Assembly Bill number 31 of 2025.
Committee stage to be taken when?
On the 10th of December, next Wednesday, Madam Speaker.
Committee stage to be taken on Wednesday, 10th December 2025. Next order.
The Independent Broadcasting Authority Bill, National Assembly Bill number 27 of 2025, report stage.
The Honorable Minister of Information and Media.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the report of the committee be adopted.
As no notice has been received of any further amendment, is it your will that the report of the committee be adopted? Any objection? I see none. Report adopted. Day for third reading.
Tomorrow, Madam Speaker.
Third reading of the bill to be taken on tomorrow. Next order.
The Zambia National Broadcasting Corporation Bill, National Assembly Bill number 28 of 2025, report stage.
The Honorable Minister of Information and Media.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the report of the committee be adopted.
As no notice has been received of any further amendment, is it your will that the report of the committee be adopted? Any objection? I see none. Report adopted. Day for third reading.
Tomorrow, Madam Speaker.
Third reading of the bill to be taken on tomorrow. Next order.
Estimates of revenue and expenditure, including capital and constitutional and statutory expenditure. Committee of Supply, resumption of committee work.
The House will now resolve into committee. As the time is 16:40 hours, I suspend business for 20 minutes for health break.